What is going on, everybody? What is going on, everybody? My name is JeffLightsYJr here with the Black Balls channel and Victory Formation. Thank you guys for tuning in. Come on in to the room. We have a lot to talk about today, as Jackson State is being sued by Mr. Fred Jones. Mr. Fred Jones of the Southern Heritage Classic is suing Deion Sanders in Jackson State. And that is not what that's not what I came on here to talk about today, but it is what I saw as I was logging in. Mr. Fred Jones, we're going to take a look at that according to HBCU Game Day, according to. But Mr. Fred Jones is suing Jackson State, is suing Deion Sanders for millions of dollars in damages, and we have to get to it right after the bumper. Stay. What's good people? What is good people? My name is JeffLightsYJr here with the Black Boss channel and Victory Formation. Thank you guys for tuning in. Be sure to come on in, hit that thumbs up button, like, share, and subscribe, as Jackson State is being sued by Fred Jones and his company in the Southern Heritage Classic. Let's get right to it, man, because this is not what I came here to talk about, but to leave your comments in the chat. Leave your thoughts in the chat, because I'm going to get to all of them. Let's see. This is an article put out by HBCU Game Day. It says Deion Sanders, JSU, and the SWAC named in a multi-million-dollar promoter lawsuit. It said the Southern Heritage Classic is going after Jackson State and the SWAC, citing Instagram posts from yours truly, Coach Prime. JSU is being sued for a breach of contract by Summit Management Corporation, owned by Mr. Fred Jones, and the SWAC is named in the suit as well. The suit was filed on March 14th of 2022. SMC is seeking $1.8 million in damages for the 2023 game and the 2024 games from JSU after it announced that it would not participate in the 2023 and 2024 games. The Southern Heritage Classic, that is. JSU entered a contract with SMC in 2019 to play in the game for 5 seasons through the 2024 season, SMC claims. SMC is seeking what? More than $5 million in damages per year from the SWAC for interfering with the deal between JSU and SMC, according to the documents obtained by Action 5 News. Jackson State head coach Deion Sanders is named in the lawsuit, as it cites an Instagram post that alleges the Classic wasn't profitable for JSU. Now, for those of you who've been keeping tabs, Coach Primes let the world know that the Southern Heritage Classic was a bad deal for not only Jackson State, but also for TSU. Eddie George has chipped in and said, hey, you know what I'm saying? Maybe we should revisit the deal. It don't look like the best deal for our schools. And Mr. Fred Jones is coming through like, yo, hold on now. Hold on. Don't say it wasn't profitable, because I paid Jackson State a ton of money in his eyes. Let's continue listening. SMC has paid JSU fees exceeding $6 million over the years, during many years when JSU was struggling financially. Over the years, TSU has won more games than JSU, but JSU has been better in recent years and stronger financially. In 2021, JSU was nearly undefeated and won the SWAC. JSU announced in February it would be opting out of the Southern Heritage Classic effective immediately. According to the suit, there was no prior phone call or email regarding termination. So now Mr. Fred Jones is saying JSU didn't hit him up. He said he found out from them leaving the Southern Heritage Classic via social media. This is what it sounds like to me, unless I'm reading it wrong. Y'all let me know. But it goes on to say, JSU eventually relented to participate in the 2022 game, but stated it would not continue past this year. The news comes a week after the SWAC announced a new Classic in Birmingham for 2022, 23, and 24 seasons. SMC filed a tort in which it claimed, quote, wrongful interference with contractual relationships In JSU's termination notice, it mentioned that it couldn't honor its Southern Heritage Classic deal because of the new Classic, a fact that was cited in the suit. The suit claims the SWAC, knowing that JSU was under contract through 2024, induced JSU to breach the contract. It claimed that JSU would not have breached the agreement, but for the SWAC's conduct. SMC is seeking a mandatory injunction compelling JSU to perform its duties as set out in the SMC. Now, what have we learned from reading all of this? We have learned that Mr. Fred Jones is not going out without a fight. He's not going out without a fight, guys. Whoever thought that JSU would just be able to mosey all along over to the SWAC Classic and say bye-bye and, wave and say, hey, thanks for having us, but we're going to go over here to where the money's at, where the money resides. They got nothing coming because Mr. Fred Jones is like, hold on now. Y'all owe me some more games. And Mr. Fred Jones is like, y'all either going to pay me in games or pay me in dollars. And $5 million. Said he's won $1.8 million for both the games that JSU won't play in as of right now, the 23 game and the 24 game. He also says he's also naming the SWAC in the lawsuit. He also specified Deion Sanders in the lawsuit and looked at an Instagram post and is taking an Instagram post. Now, this is going to be interesting because, well, Mr. Fred Jones got a case. He's actually got a case. If Jackson State, now this is all allegedly, so don't kill me out there, guys. If Jackson State allegedly signed a contract in 2019, if the contract allegedly was for 5 games, if the contract wasn't supposed to end to 2024, Mr. Fred Jones might have a case. Because here are the things that we do know. Here are the things that we do know. Let's separate the facts from the fiction. There's a lot of fiction out there, possibly. But here's the facts. The facts are Deion Sanders has said this game was not profitable for Jackson State. The facts are Jackson State had no intentions on playing in the game this year, and they damn sure don't plan on playing in the game in the next 2 years, 23 and 24. Those are facts. The facts are the SWAC has created the SWAC Classic, and the premier team that they want to show off in the SWAC Classic, which was supposed to be over the next 3 years, but will be over the 23 season and 24 season, is Jackson State. Specifically in the 23 and 24 season, Jackson State versus Southern. Those are all facts. The other fact, whether you like it or not, the Southern Heritage Classic has paid Jackson State $6 million. Now, it has been $6 million over 30 years. It's been $6 million over 30 years, and it ain't that great. You know what I'm saying? It's been $6 million or a little bit over $6 million from 1990 to 2022. But the facts are what they are. Those are the facts. Now, here's what is debatable. Here's what's debatable. Now, like I said, don't bite my head off for just telling you. Here is what's debatable. What's debatable is whether Jackson State contacted Mr. Fred Jones directly or not to terminate their contract. What is debatable is whether the price for Jackson State should go up. What is also debatable is should Jackson State have to fulfill the contract that they signed in 2019 when they're not the same program that they were in 2019. Last I checked, Deion Sanders wasn't at Jackson State in 2019. Last I checked, Jackson State hadn't won a SWAC championship in 2019. Last I checked, Jackson State hadn't won a SWAC East championship in 2019. So those are what you have to weigh against each other. Now, someone says he doesn't have a case. No, he's got a case, Terry. He got a case because because his case would be he has them under contract for the next 3 years. This year, 2022, next year, 2023, the year after, 2024. And if Jackson State is breaching the contract, then therefore he has a case. Because if we know simple business, if I have you under contract, you can buy yourself out of the contract. And what Mr. Jones is saying, to buy yourself out is worth $1.8 million, almost $2 million. So that is, now, is he inflating those numbers? Now, some might say, well, Jackson State bid in the game isn't worth $1.8 million. when Mr. Fred Jones has only paid them on average. I think the average, we did the numbers on the earlier broadcast. On average, he's paying them about $250,000 to play in the game. So if he's only paying $250,000 to play in the game, let's give him $350,000. Let's be nice. If he's only paying them $350,000 to play in the game, this is allegedly, these are just alleged numbers. Why in the hell would they pay $1.8 million? Why in the hell would they pay $1.8 million? Seem like a big old number for a game that you was only getting to between $200,000 and $350,000. $1.8 million? That's a little steep for 2 years. So almost $4 million, and then over $5 million when you add the SWAC in there, because he threw the SWAC in there too. He said, "Yeah, y'all the reason, so I need $5 million total because of y'all." Oh, Deion Sanders, you out here lying on my name? I need another, throw a couple more dollars on there because of that. And so that's interesting. That is interesting. Now let me look at some of your comments. No court will make them fulfill the demands. You might be right to that. But a court will make them pay that money. A court will make them pay. That's why lawsuits are filed. A court will make them pay that money. And not only will a court make them pay money, just the process of going to court costs you money. Going out and getting lawyers, going out to different court dates, trying to settle this lawsuit. You hope to settle this outside the courtroom because all that stuff costs money. All of that costs money, and that's a headache that I imagine A.D. Ashley Robinson, after hiring the new basketball coach, who I came on here to talk about, after hiring a new basketball coach, after having your women's basketball team in the NCAA tournament, I don't think you want to deal with a bunch of lawyers and courtrooms and Mr. Fred Jones. I would imagine you just want Mr. Fred Jones to just go away. So that would be my thoughts on that. It says facts. Deion, he wasn't a part of the agreement. Deion Sanders is a businessman. So Deion Sanders understands that this is business. And he knew there was a possibility that this could take place, this being a lawsuit. He knew that there was a chance, there was a big chance with his name, his brand, the school's name, the school's brand now, the way it's elevated, and the way Mr. Fred Jones saw dollar signs. He knew that this was a possibility. Hell, he probably was expecting it. I'm sure Jackson State was expecting it. But they must have something on their side that they feel pretty confident about. I imagine that they have something nice on their side that they feel confident about. And like Terry says, it's probably something that's written within the language of the contract. That's what I imagine. But they are being sued by Mr. Fred Jones. All of this is speculation. We don't know what is in the contract. Absolutely, Rennie. You're absolutely right. We do not know what's in the speculation. That's why I say according to Mr. Jones, according to Action 5 News, according to HBCU Game Day, all this is according to. But this is what Mr. Fred Jones is presenting in his lawsuit. This is what he's presenting to the public. He's been quick ever since Jackson State said that they won't know parts of the Southern Heritage Classic. Mr. Jones has been quick to defend himself, his organization, his football game. He's been quick to defend all of it. And even if that means putting out documents like the fact that they paid Jackson State only $6 million over 30 years, he put it out there. It's like, we paid y'all when y'all was broke. That's basically what Mr. Jones. So if we had to break down this relationship between Mr. Jones and Jackson State, Mr. Jones is basically saying, look, man, I took care of y'all when y'all wasn't nothing. I took care of y'all when y'all was broke. This is what he's saying, not me. This is not me talking this. It's just what I'm reading when I read these documents. Mr. Jones is like, yo, I took care of Jackson State when Jackson State wasn't Jackson State. When Jackson State was a run-of-the-mill program, when Jackson State was having losing seasons, when Jackson State, I still, every single year, put them in the Southern Heritage Classic. I still was paying them money when they were hard on finances. I still was doing all these things for them. And this is how you treat me? This is how you gonna treat me? Mr. Fred Jones, who is giving y'all business, who is giving y'all attention, spotlight, etc., over the last 30 years, help raise your brand over the last 30 years. This is what he's got to be thinking. This is just my imagination. Raise y'all, notoriety, raise your brand, brought you to the city of Memphis where you got a ton of fans, etc., And this is how y'all repaying me? As soon as y'all get popping, y'all want to leave my event? As soon as y'all get popping, y'all don't want to, we could try to rework something or do something like that. But no, y'all just want to up and leave. This is probably how he feels. And he's like, yo, okay, I'm going to show you something. I'm going to give you a reason for wanting to leave. Boom. There's a $5 million lawsuit. and Coach Prime and Ashley Robinson and all these other folks, they're like, bring it on. This is their attitude because they ain't broke a sweat. I mean, you want to see how worried Jackson State is about this lawsuit? You want to see? Let me show you how worried Deion Sanders is about this lawsuit that from Mr. Fred Jones. This is how worried he is about this lawsuit. Let's go to his Twitter page right now. Right freaking now. He's saying, thank you, Jackson, Mississippi. And he's posting pictures with folks that's important in the city, I imagine. He's shaking hands. He's talking game plans. He's stepping to the mic. This is how he feels about Mr. Fred lawsuit. He ain't broke a sweat. He's showing off his fiance. You know what I'm saying? He's taking pictures with the people. Like, look, thank you, Jack. It's all he been doing. Just posting pictures. Friends, family, donors, fans, a man of the people. Like this thing goes on, showing off his coaches, showing off his guest of honor. Look at Ashley. Does that look like a man? Look at this man's face. Does that look like the face of a man who's worried about Mr. Fred Jones? Like, does that look like the face of a man that is worried about anything Mr. Fred Jones got going on? I'm just saying. It don't look like it. It don't look like it to me. But he looked like he okay. He looks like he is okay. I mean, this is what Prime's been doing. This is on his Twitter page right now. We're live. We're broadcasting live. This man showing off the pictures with all. I guess they had some kind of ceremony down in Jackson. Jackson State fans, let me know. Did y'all like a ceremony going on over the weekend? Yeah, like some kind of ceremony going on before the gala, I imagine. Man, these folks ain't worried about Mr. Fred Jones. Dog, for the last hour, Coach Prime just been posting pictures. Look at Travis. You got Shador talking with I'm guessing some high-ranking people. I mean, he literally is just posting pictures the last hour. Ashley, look. That man ain't worried about Fred Jones. That man ain't break a sweat. So Lawrence, shout out to Lawrence. He said, yo, I just came in. What did I miss? Mr. Fred Jones of the Southern Heritage Classic is suing Deion Sanders, the SWAC in Jackson State, for breaching their contract with Summit Media Group. What is it called? Let me make sure I ain't messing that up. The Southern Heritage Classic SMCs, or is Summit Media Corporation? What are they? Summit Management Corporation. Summit Management Corporation. And we'll go through the article again because I really came on here. I didn't come on here to talk about this. I didn't think this was a thing. And then it's Deion Sanders, JSU, and the SWAC named him multi-million-dollar. Now, like I said, the biggest thing for me is the numbers. He's suing them for $1.8 million for each game. And he only gives out. We did the math. Let's do the math, guys. Let's do the math. I got my handy dandy calculator. Let me do something right quick because we did this. So let's do 6 million. 100,000. So that's 6 million. I don't know. Yeah, I can see that. 6 million. 6 million. And let's just do it even 30 years. Divided by 30. It's been more than 30 years, but let's just. That's 200,000 a game. Think about that. That's 200,000 a game. If you did 200,000, let me see if I can do this on live. Times 30 years equals. Oh shoot, I messed something up. 30 equals $6 million. So he's giving them on average. Hell, let's give him $250,000. $250,000 a game over the last 30 years, and you're trying to get $5 million out of them? It's a bit much. Mr. Fred Jones, it's a little steep. Now, I'm not saying you ain't going to get something. You're going to get something for the breach of this contract. They're going to pay you something to make you go away. I'm going to just be honest. That $5 million is a bit steep. $5 million is a bit steep, whether you think the SWAC, and the SWAC did come up with a SWAC classic. So all of these, it's not like the man's talking cap. Like, he's not saying anything that's wrong. He's speaking facts, the facts. Deion Sanders said Southern Heritage Classic was not profitable for Jackson State. That's a fact. Fact number 2, the SWAC has created the SWAC Classic. And the announcement of the SWAC Classic came right after JSU said they weren't playing in the Southern Heritage Classic anymore. That's also a fact. Another fact. Mr. Fred Jones kept JSU in the Southern Heritage Classic even when they weren't good. That is also a fact. I will give him that. But this $1.8 million for each game, I mean, I can't tell you how to sue, what to sue, but it's a bit steep. Now, what JSU, like I said, and I stated this already, be sure to hit that thumbs up button. We got a nice amount of people here. What's also true is that JSU can feel like, hey, in 2019, when we signed that contract with you, we weren't this JSU. We weren't the primes. We wasn't the fighting primes. We wasn't JSU. We wasn't 11-2. We weren't SWAC champions. We weren't SWAC East champions. We didn't have the Cody. We didn't have the Eddie Robinson Award winner. We didn't have the Jerry Rice Award winner. We didn't have the SWAC New Player of the Year. We didn't have the SWAC Freshman of the Year. We weren't those guys. We didn't have the number 1 recruit in the country. We didn't have 4 stars and 5 stars and Power 5 transfers. We didn't have all that. So therefore, yesterday's price ain't today's price. That's probably how Jackson State feeling like, yo, yesterday's price ain't today's price. And so therefore, Mr. Fred Jones, yeah, we signed that contract. But guess what you can do with that contract? You can wipe in between your thighs with that contract. Because yesterday's price ain't today's price. And if you come in gangster like that, because that's how Jackson State kind of presented themselves, like, yo, you got to be prepared for stuff like this. You got to be prepared for guys like Fred Jones to take this to the courtrooms, to take this to the lawyers, to stand behind his, because he don't want to get bullied. Hell, Fred Jones was on the Coach Prime documentary. He wants to continue to do stuff. He wants people to know his name and know his media company and to know what he's doing and to know about the Southern Heritage Classic and to come to the game and to spend their money and to do these things. That's how a businessman stay in business. So that is going to be something to follow. That is going to be interesting. Very, very, very interesting to follow. Terry says, first off, JSU kept it relevant with their fan base. And I'm not saying you didn't. Terry. There's probably very much true. But JSU wasn't the powerhouse program 3 years ago, what it is now. You get what I'm saying? Because if you were, you wouldn't have signed that contract, and you wouldn't be mad about the contract that you're currently kind of stuck in unless you're going to pay this man $5 million. Now, that is going to be something to follow. That is going to be something to watch. I am definitely going to stay on top of that. I am definitely going to stay on top of that because that is going to be a doozy right there. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button. Now, what I came on here to talk about is the firepower of Jackson State as a university right now. Jackson State as a university is on fire, and they just made the hire, and we talked about it before in a previous broadcast, but I didn't get on here live to talk to you guys about it, and that is about the introduction of Mo Williams. Woo, look at him. Hey, Mo looked clean in that blue, man. He looked clean in that JSU I Believe blue. If you think Mo looks good in that I Believe blue, type I Believe in the comments, type I Believe in the chat. Look at Mo. Look at Ashley. Man, Ashley ain't worried about that lawsuit. Ashley's clean up there. Look at him. That's all smiles. From the big dog, this is Mrs. Reed. Miss Reed right here, she the champ. She going to the tournament. She going dancing. By Ashley, who's been, he got his championship ring. He's showing that joint out too. And by Mo, who hopes to get one of those. Now, he was nowhere near close to getting one of those rings you see them wearing at Alabama State. But he hopes to be the next one in line. Now, I'm showing this because I wanted to talk more in depth about the star power at JSU. Jackson State has a ton of star power right now. They are the premier HBCU school when it comes to athletics. Whether you want to admit it or not, I don't care about how good your baseball team is at your school. No disrespect to North Carolina A&T and your track team is amazing. No disrespect. No disrespect to some of the premier baseball teams. No disrespect to any of the schools in the MEAC, any of the schools in the SIAC, any of the schools in any of those other conferences. The hot ticket in all of college athletics on the HBCU level is Jackson State. Why? Because the football team for most schools, I'm not going to say all the schools, but the football team for most schools sets the tone, sets the pace for the university's athletics program. Why do I say that? Because football makes the most money. And so if you have a dominant football program, 10 times out of 10, your school's making a lot of money. Just look at what Deion Sanders has been able to do for Jackson State over the course of the last year. If you don't believe me, go check out how their field used to look in season 1 of Coach Prime and how it looks in season 2. Go take a look at how their jerseys looked in season 1 of Coach Prime and take a look on how it looked in season 2. You don't believe it? Look how the stands looked in season 1 of Coach Prime. And you guys love y'all football team, but the stands in season 1 were not even comparable to the fan support in the stands in the fans in the stands in season 2. Do you understand what I'm saying? Look at what Coach Prime was able to do during the offseason. Get guys like Kevin Coleman and Travis Hunter. So they're setting the pace. Coming off a fire football season where you dominated the SWAC. You dominated every team that you played, essentially. You dominated as overall record-wise. You had some close games in there. Valley played you close. Southern played you close. Hell, even Prairie View played you close for the most part. FAMU probably feel like they should have beat you. But you won all your games except your game in the Celebration Bowl. And they gave you some humble pie. And all you did on the eve of the Celebration Bowl was snag the number 1 recruit in the entire country, the first 5-star to ever choose an HBCU. So do you get what I'm saying? And so coming off that historic football season, you ran right into the men's and women's basketball season. And that lady in the middle right there, this lady right here, all she did was go 18-0 in the SWAC. All she did was win the SWAC championship, both regular season and conference tournaments. And now she is an HBCU conference, a SWAC team that is a 13 seed. Now, that don't sound like a whole lot, but she's not playing in no play-in games. She's not a 16 seed going against a Louisville or UConn or a 1 seed. She's a 13 seed by winning back-to-back SWAC championships, going 18-0, undefeated during the SWAC, and winning the conference championship. And now she's a 13 seed with a good chance, I wouldn't even say a good chance, but with a chance of beating LSU. Now, you got to beat LSU in Baton Rouge. It's going to be tough. And they got a new coach in Kim Mulkey, who was an LSU grad, who don't want to lose her, who's a beast of a head coach in her own right, but damn sure don't want to lose her first ever tournament game as the head coach of LSU to an HBCU. But she got a tough task in Miss Reed's squad and the Lady Tigers. So I'm saying all that to say what? You're star-studded at JSU. This guy over here with big cheesing, he's got a winner and a champion right here, Miss Reed. He's got a winner and a champion in Coach Prime. And so why stop the momentum? And why not hire your buddy, a Jackson native? Some of you guys told me him and Ashley went to high school together, classmates. Now, granted, he wasn't a good coach at Alabama State. He didn't have a good record. Not even against the SWAC. Had a losing record against the SWAC. 12-24 against the SWAC. But Ashley is probably thinking, I got Miss Reed, who's a beast. I got Coach Prime, who's a beast. And between those two, they're pouring more resources into my university. They're pouring more resources specifically into my athletics department. And so why not go out and grab the biggest name in HBCU football as a head coach and pair him with the best women's coach in the SWAC, with the best men's football coach in the SWAC, the best HBCU coach who happens to be a Hall of Famer, a superstar women's coach, and put Mo, an NBA and All-Star, an NBA champion, a Jackson native, although he went to Alabama, but a Jackson native, city of Jackson native, and possibly, I don't know, I haven't fact checked it, and possibly a classmate of Ashley Robinson. Why not pair him with the superstars that I already have? Ashley's trying to collect gems like the Infinity Stones. He's Thanos. And this could be a major boom or bust of a hire. A major boom or bust as a hire. Why? Because Mo Williams, like I said, has a losing record at Alabama State. Mo Williams, like I said, has a losing record in the SWAC. Mo Williams, like I said, has not proven that he is a good basketball coach yet. But it could be a crazy boom pairing him with Miss Reed and Coach Prime. So it's a gamble I see why Ashley took. I see why he took it. It's a major gamble. But I see exactly why he took it. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button. And they're going to milk the hell out of this. They're going to get maximum attention out of this. And why wouldn't you? He's a native son of Jackson. Look at him. They're turned. Give him his hat. Get him to the podium. Show off that nice blue suit, that big old smile. They turned. Coach Mo Williams, NBA champion, NBA All-Star, played with LeBron James. They turned about having Mo Williams back in Jackson, a native son. It's all about the state recruiting. Yes. They think you pair Mo with Prime, with Miss Reed, you're gonna dominate. They think this is what I imagine Ashley was thinking when he made the hire. Y'all pair Mo with Miss Reed, he gonna see her dominating. He gonna see Prime dominating, and he's thinking like, yo, I can't go out like I did at Alabama State. I won't go out like I was at Alabama State. There's a decent foundation there. A decent foundation. We got some players. So, it's gonna be interesting to see how that works out. Mo Williams, he was introduced as the next head coach at Jackson State basketball. Yeah, man, that is going to be very, very interesting to see how that plays out. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button. I know we got a few more people in here. The lead story was Fred Jones is suing Deion Sanders, the SWAC, and Jackson State over $5 million in a lawsuit because Jackson State has breached the contract and already said that they won't play in the Southern Heritage Classic. And so that's gonna be interesting to watch that moving forward because, like I said, the facts are they are breaching the contract. The facts are they do not plan on playing in 2023 and 2024. The facts are Deion Sanders has said the Southern Heritage Classic wasn't profitable. And here's where things like that can be tricky because Jackson State made some sort of profit from the Southern Heritage Classic. It just wasn't the profit Coach Prime knows his team deserves. It just wasn't the profit Coach Prime would be getting out of bed for. It just wasn't the profit compared to the value that that Jackson State, and especially Jackson State led by Deion Sanders, brings to that game. And so that is why he said it wasn't profitable, because in his eyes it wasn't. Coach Prime ain't just getting out of bed for any old kind of deal. You know what I'm saying? That's why he has his SMAC Entertainment, Barstool, Pepsi, all these different companies he does business with. He's not just getting out of bed for any old thing. He's not just getting out of bed because Fred Jones called him. He's just not getting out of bed because he just loved Memphis that much. Like, no, the deal got to make sense. And so that's why he said it wasn't profitable. And that's why he no longer, and it sounded like Ashley Robinson no longer wanted to play in that game anymore. And so, that's going to be something to watch. Leave your thoughts in the comments. Once again, leave your thoughts in the comments. My name is Jeff Lightsy Jr. at the Black Boss Channel. Subscribe to the Black Boss Channel and my sports channel, Jeff Lightsy Jr. Thank you guys for tuning in. Is that someone says I knew Fred leaked the letter? Fred definitely leaked the letter. Because Fred, that's why he leaked the numbers. He leaked the numbers that they got paid over $6 million. Now, we did $6 million divided by 30. That's only $200,000 a game. I think it was like $6.3 million. So I'm going to say they paid them roughly between $220,000 and $250,000 a game over the last 30 years. It's Coach Prime. He's not getting out of bed for that. Not when the SWAC Classic is telling them they get $500,000 if no one shows up to the stadium. And when Commissioner McClellan is telling them if they can get, they can fill it half capacity, both teams are walking away with $1.5 million. If they can fill it to capacity, both teams will walk away with close to $3 million if they can sell it out the joint. And so that's why the SWAC Classic makes a lot of sense to Coach Prime. That's why the SWAC Classic makes a lot of sense to Ashley Robinson. That's why the SWAC Classic makes a lot of sense to Commissioner McClellan. So, we got to wait and see how all this stuff plays out. Hit that thumbs up button on your way out, guys. Subscribe to the Black Boss Channel, Jeff Lightsy Jr. Also, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at JLightsy7. I post all my content on there first at JLightsy7. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you next time. Peace.